Hello, Stitchy friends. How is everybody doing? Today is Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. This is The Runner Stitcher. My name is Andrew. This is Winston. And you've stumbled upon my channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey and a little bit about running as well. This is Flosstube number 33, episode number 33. Can't believe it. Here we are in February. January, I'm glad it's over. This has been a really difficult week for me, both at work and just sort of some personal things going on, but that's kind of been typical of January of this year. It's been a very long month, and I'm glad to put it behind me and sort of move forward, but it was a really tough week. I was very happy to have stitching to sort of escape from life for a little bit and just kind of get away, but it also meant that I just didn't get as much stitching in this week as I had hoped, so that's okay. That's okay. So we're gonna move forward and move onward and go from there. But if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoy what you see. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me and Winston. I do want to have a quick shout out here at the beginning. Thank you so much, Dorothy, for taking advantage of the Buy Me a Coffee link. I really appreciate that. It's a very kind gesture, and it really means a lot to me. So thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that, Dorothy. I do want to start off today a little bit with running again. So as I mentioned last week, I did have another race in Central Park this past weekend, and it was the New York Roadrunners Manhattan 10K. They do a 5-borough series where they do a race in all of the different 5 boroughs, and this was the Manhattan one. So the Manhattan 10K was just one loop around Central Park. If you remember from last week when I did the half marathon, that was a little over 2 loops of the park, with one section being 3 times. So this was just one loop around the park, and my friend ran it with me, and so we actually got to run together, and our pace was pretty good. I think we finished at about an 8.5 minute pace, around 52 minutes for the 6.2 miles. And that was really good. We were really happy to run together. It was a freezing cold morning. So the worst part of the race was waiting in the corrals to begin the race, because it was 17 degrees when we started the race, and that is chilly. So no matter how many layers you have, no matter what's going on, you are still cold. And my toes were definitely frozen by the time the race started, and didn't really start to feel them until about halfway through the race. But still, we had a good time, and we thought we would be slower because of the cold, but I guess that sped us up a little bit. So anyway, here is the cube the medal. As you can see, it's got like some really cool engraving of the word Manhattan in the background there, which is super cool. I love the black. I think it looks pretty chic. And I have a feeling that this is what all of their medals from this series this year will kind of look like. Each one will probably be a different color and have, the borough in the background, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I was really happy with this. So as far as the stats go, I don't actually have accurate stats from the race, because for some reason, when they picked up my bib, they had me starting actually like a minute before the race even began. So my time is like way off with what they recorded. I have sent them an email just to see if they can get it corrected, but that means I don't have sort of what place I finished in, or where I sort of fell accurately. I know there was about 7,000 runners who ran the race, and so I don't have stats to go with it, but that was really fun. I was glad to run that race. I'm not always here for it, since I'm usually in Florida visiting my parents, but I'm happy to be here for it this year. So I don't know how many more of the other races I'll actually be able to run. I'm just not sure that I'll get any of the others in the series this year, just with how my schedule is, but that's okay too. So I do have another race in Central Park this coming weekend. This is the third in a 3 in a row weekends. This one is only a 4-mile race, so it'll be about a half loop of the park. So I'm glad I started with the biggest one, and then they've kind of gotten easier each time. But this one is called the New York Roadrunners Gridiron 4-miler, and it's basically for the Super Bowl. I think they have a competition before the race where you can see if you can throw the football the farthest. I will not be partaking in that part. And then the cool part about this race is towards the end of the race, they split you off into 2 sections, and you can choose whether you want to finish with which of the 2 Super Bowl teams you want to finish with. So then it's kind of like you find out who most people were rooting for by the end of the race by where they finished. So you can go on I guess it'll be the Eagles side or the Kansas City side to finish. And I'll probably be running that with my friend again, which will be awesome. And I'm sure she'll want me to go for the Eagles side. So anyway, that will be a little 4-miler next week on Sunday, or this coming weekend on Sunday before the Super Bowl. So hopefully it won't be quite as cold as this past weekend. I'm definitely in the mood for some warmer running weather. Today was actually pretty nice. It was 45 degrees, which felt like a heat wave. And I was very happy to put in my 3 miles. Looking forward to spring and some warmer weather to get out there for. So, okay, enough about running. Let's move on to stitching. So since the last time I saw you in the past week, I was able to add 2,607 stitches. Now that is a little bit lower than the numbers that I had been seeing previously, just because of everything going on. So yeah, but that's what I was able to get done. Plus my focus piece, which you'll see in a little bit, was tougher and it just goes a little slower. So all in all, I'm very happy with where I ended. But let's jump into it. So I've got, I think I've got 4 different whips for you, and then we'll go into some plans and a couple other things at the end. So let's start off with temperature stitching. So last week I showed you what my temperature chart was going to look like and what I had to stitch on for the week. So there were 2 projects that I worked on. The first one I worked on was Stack of Pancakes. This is a pattern I got on Etsy from SammyStitches. I think it's called SammyStitchesStore. And I am stitching this on a 20... What am I stitching this on? I always forget. This is on a 20 count black Aida. I did try something new. So I took a video to show where I started before I began stitching. So as we go along, I'm going to pop in that short video just so you can see where I was when I began, and then we'll move into where I am now. So here is this first clip. All right, I am about to be starting my first temperature stitch today, which is a stack of pancakes. This was called 2 times for the week, and so I will be putting in 200 stitches on this piece. Likely I will be working up in this section here. I want to kind of fill in a little bit more here, so I'll pick a color and kind of run with it. And you will see this on my video once I have 200 more stitches in. So check back soon. Here is where I am now. So I mostly worked in this section over here and sort of filling in some of this top part here. I got this one part of syrup completed here and then was working on just these colors here. Now I was able to put in 201 stitches, which you might not be able to see much on this piece because it's kind of scattered throughout because I'm doing cross country where I'm starting with a certain color and then just running with it wherever it goes. But yeah, I was really happy to get 200 stitches in, and yeah, this will come back out for more temperature stitching. So this has been really fun. I am liking how it's coming along. This puts me at 42.18% on this piece. So pretty fun. Okay, and the next temperature stitch that was called was my Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage. This is by the Witchy Stitcher. And the call was it was called for 5 different days, so I had to put 500 stitches in. And you ready to get down? Okay. Winston's had enough. So the goal was to put in 500 stitches. Here is the clip of where I began. Here is my starting point for Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage by the Witchy Stitcher. As you can see, I've got some parked threads here, so that will be the first thing I sort of fill in, and then I'll continue working my way down. The goal is to get 500 stitches in for temperature stitching, so hopefully when I come back, you will see 500 more stitches. And here is where I am now. So hopefully you can see those 500 stitches. I was able to bring down the house a little bit more and finish these 2 sort of windows here. And then I did make this start on the moon here. Now I am doing this totally from stash. And that means I think there might be about 3 or 4 different colors that are the called for DMC. The rest are just colors that I pulled that I thought sort of looked like it matched. So the colors here in the windows, they're actually called for 3 different shades of orange in the pattern. And I used the darkest shade is the correct DMC. And then for the lighter 2 shades, I used a blend or a variegated floss called Tiger Lily from Roxy Floss Co. that I had in my stash. And I have been sort of fussy cutting this because, as you can see, there's some really light parts to it. I don't know how well that's coming across. You can see there's some really light parts to it and some darker orange parts. So I've kind of been fussy cutting it to get that ombre effect in the window, where it kind of gets lighter as you go up. Now, it's not perfect, but I think it does work for this piece, so I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how it turned out. And it will be used later on in the pattern as well, so we'll get to see it more. And then up here for the moon, so the Witchy Stitcher has 2 different versions of this pattern. One is called Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, and the other one is Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage. So the festive one has just a little bit more Christmassy elements thrown in, but it's the same piece as before, just kind of Christmas-fied. So I went with that one. However, the reason I'm telling you all this is the moon here, the moon in the festive piece is actually a red moon. But when I was looking at the 2 pieces, I actually liked the orange moon better from the non-festive version. So I went with the orange colors here for the moon, and that's what I'll be working on next time when I pull it out, is to complete that moon there. But that's why mine is going to look a little different than the pattern, but I'm really excited. I love how the black is coming out. I love how the house is turning out, and I'm just really excited. I had a really good time stitching this piece. The pattern was enough of block stitching, but enough of color changes and keeping it interesting. And I just really, really enjoyed this time. So I was very happy that it is out now for temperature stitching. So stay tuned to see what it will get next week. But that was a lot of fun. I was able to add 533 stitches, and that puts me at 15.06% of the pattern. And as you know, the 3rd temperature piece that I have slotted didn't even get called. So I did not get to start my new start this past week. So we'll see where all that goes in plans. Okay, the next piece is Saga. Okay, so today is the day when I'm working on Saga, and here is my starting point, where you'll see where I left off last week. So I will be working in this section here to work on the other elephant to match. So yeah, that is my starting point, and now you'll see where I ended up. You saw where I was last time. Since then, I was able to add in 555 stitches, which was enough to cover what I needed to do for the week, which puts me at 27.54%. And I'm happy to show that I have both elephants in. So Maisie and, was it Ethel? I think was the other elephant. They are both in. Now you can see that this elephant here, where is it? Here, is still missing its front leg. So I need to complete that. And the rope, the tight rope that they're walking on, needs to be completed. So that will get run across all the way across the bottom. But those elephants are no joke. There's a lot of stitching in those elephants. So basically, this one elephant was my 500 stitches. And I mean, I did a little bit of the design here underneath of it, but basically that was the whole stitching session. So that was a lot of fun. I really love this block with the elephants. I think it's super, super cute, very well done, and yeah, just a lot of fun. Some people were saying they hope there's a continuation of the story of how they get down off the tightrope, and unfortunately, I don't think there is. I think that's why they're on the tightrope forever in Saga, because they couldn't get down. But yeah, this was just a lot of fun. So this will come out again next week for another round of stitching. By the end of February, I wanted to be at 25%, so I'm a little ahead of the game, which is perfect. I'm going to keep on target with my original pace for hopefully the next year, and then maybe reduce it a little bit if I need to. We'll see. We'll get to that point when I have to, but I'm just happy I'm on target. Okay, and the final whip that I worked on is Beyonce by Tilton Crafts. And here is what she is going to look like when she's finished. She's so pretty. She is my first fancy lady for the month, and I'm really excited to continue working on her. She's only come out for one rotation since I began her, and that was the very first time she was called for WhipGo. So this is only the second time I've brought her out to work on her. I will pop in the video here of where I was. Here is where I am starting my focus piece for the week. This is Beyonce at the Grammys by Tilton Crafts, and this is the starting point. So this will be my focus for this week, and I'm going to be starting in this section here to kind of fill in some of these missing stitches here, and then I'll just kind of continue and travel from there. So hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit of a difference when I come back to you. All right. Okay, and since I last saw you, I was able to add in 1,318 stitches. That puts me at roughly 3.62%, although technically I'm probably further since I won't be stitching all of the background since I'm stitching it on black. That was the purpose for that. But here is where I was able to get to. Let's see how well I can show this. Ooh, it's looking good. So that was a lot of stitching. 1,318 stitches on this piece is a lot. Would have I liked more? Obviously, yes. I always want to get more progress, but I'm really happy with it. This piece is really tough to work with. As you can see, it's a lot of the same oranges and reds and browns that you're stitching with, and so it is difficult, especially when you're doing it cross country like I am. So when you take a color and just sort of run with it like this, you have to make sure that all your counting is correct on black Ada, which is not, sorry, this is Lugana. This is a 25 count black Lugana, but you have to make sure that all of your counting is correct. I definitely have found a few places where I was off or I'd put a stitch in the wrong place. I think I was able to fix it enough that it's not going to be noticeable in this full coverage piece, or was able to actually take the stitch out and redo it. But where I worked on mostly was this side of her left breast here. And I basically got that completed. You know, there's a little bit at the bottom there that still needs to be filled in. But when you look at it back here, you can really see, you know, where her dress line comes in and, you know, how that works with her hand. Some of those colors over here also went over here on this side as well. So I got a big portion of that done as well. And maybe that's where I'll head next time to kind of just complete the symmetry here on this side. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with this, happy with how it's coming along. Again, I have no sort of end goal in mind of when I'll complete this. I'll just keep bringing it out when I want to. I will say with this piece, this was really fun because I don't know if you watched the Grammys this past weekend, but Beyonce actually won for Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter, and she also won Best Country Album for the year for Cowboy Carter. So yesterday when I got to work on this right after her win, I listened to the album again and yeah, just kind of celebrated all things Beyonce. So I thought that was kind of perfect timing that this was my first fancy lady, and it came right off of the heels of her Grammy win. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, that is Beyonce. So she will go away now. I don't know when she'll come back out, but when she does, I'll make some more progress. All right, and those are the only whips I've got for you this week. So it's kind of a short and sweet, which is, I think, how these weekly videos will be for me, which will be really good. It was the flow this week was really nice. I loved the temperature stitching to kind of spice things up a little bit, mix things up with the project. Still getting my Saga work in, and then having just one focus piece that I could really dedicate time to and not have a stitch goal in mind. So that brings us to plans. So temperature stitching. Let's see what we got this week. So before the video, I went through and looked at the upcoming temperatures, the high temperatures for the week, and slotted in what I'm supposed to work on. So I will put a picture of that chart in here. And it's a doozy of a week. It's kind of wild. So last week, Festive Frosted Pumpkin had the most number of days called. This week, no days. No days at all. So as much as I really enjoyed that piece and was looking forward to it coming out again sooner, because that is the priority piece, it did not come out. So that one won't get worked on in the next week. But one little piece of good news is the new start, which is Put a Bird on It by Modern Folk Embroidery. That piece did get called finally, only for one day. So that will get 100 stitches, but it will be a new start. And I'll get working on that. So I'm not going to share yet what I'm doing with that piece, but come back next week and you'll see what fabric I chose and what floss I chose. And that'll be fun. You'll get to see 100 stitches on that piece. And the piece that got called the most, which I can't believe, is the Witch Whip piece, which is Stack of Pancakes. So that one had 6 numbers. As I was filling out the form this week by looking at the temperatures, I just could not believe how every number kept lining up with Stack of Pancakes. It was wild. So that one is slated for 6 days, which is 600 stitches this week. So hopefully I can get that completed, because that's another piece where it is a little slower to get done, and I kind of liked the smaller chunks. Like 200 stitches last week was a good chunk on that, because by the end of it I was happy to be moving on, but it was still a good progress. So 600 stitches, we'll see if I can get it all done. Hopefully I can. But yeah, so that means that will put that piece at 8 of the 10 days already, 80%. So I think then in the next video next week, I will have you guys vote on which piece will be my next whip that you want to see. So come back next week for sure and help me decide that. And then we'll see that piece get replaced once Pancakes hits 1,000. So those are the temperature stitching plans. And then, so Whip Go this month, as you know, was Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, which I'm working on. That needed 2,000 stitches. So I've got 500 of that already completed, and I'm hoping that the temperature stitching in the rest of the month will get the other 1,500. Now I'm getting nervous since I got no days this week, but we'll see. And the other Whip Go piece was The Kiss. That's by Mirabilia, and that is actually going to be my fancy lady for this week, my fancy lady focus. So let me pull that out. My Whip Go goal for The Kiss is to get in 300 stitches. So that will definitely be completed at the end of this week. Here is The Kiss and what it looks like. I am definitely excited to be pulling this back out. And I'll show you where I'm at now. So I think the last time that we saw this, I was working on his hair here, which I've basically completed. So what I might do this time is work on skin. And at this point, I am planning on doing 1/1 skin for both of them. This piece does not have quite as much skin as some, although it will still take a while. But that's my goal. So I might sort of do a little skin and then maybe a little sky fill in, a little skin. We'll see. But that's my goal. So this will be my starting point for my focus piece for next week. All right, and I think those are the only plans I've got for the next week. So that should be enough, and that will be exciting. The last thing I want to say is we have reached 5,000 subscribers on this channel. Now, I mentioned last week that I was very close, and I kept kind of hovering right around 5,000. I think I'm safely in the 5,000 range. I think I'm about 5,015, something like that. So I think we can go ahead and celebrate. I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed and sort of made this channel what it is. Without you, it's not anything. And it has been so much fun sort of building this channel and this community, being a part of this community with other floss tubers and other stitchers and other people who also enjoy the hobby. I've just had a lot of fun. I've been learning a lot and growing a lot, and that's been awesome. So as a thank you for reaching 5,000 subscribers, I do have some giveaways today. So I've got 5 different giveaways for 5,000 subscribers. So let's jump into that. Now, these first couple items, the first 4 items, I will be happy to ship wherever in the world because they're patterns, so I will be able to do that. The final item will just be for US only, unfortunately. But so the first giveaway I have is a pattern from Hello from Liz Matthews. And this is called Flowers Always. And it says, I must have flowers always and always. I thought this was a cute pattern to give away for Valentine's Day, and maybe you want to stitch it in the month of February or even in the spring. It's a good spring pattern as well. So if you are interested in winning this piece, please use the word always, ALWAYS. That is the first giveaway. The second giveaway is from Stitches Designs, and this is a Bigfoot in spring. How fun is that? I'm definitely dreaming of spring, so I thought this was a cute one to give away at this time. But yeah, super cute pattern. If you're interested in this, use the word Bigfoot, BIGFOOT, all one word, Bigfoot. Okay, the third pattern I've got is by Camelot Designs, and this is called Atlantis. Now, this is an older pattern, but it's brand new. It's not even opened, but it is this beautiful sandcastle design here, which is so cute. I hemmed and hawed about keeping this and stitching it for myself one day, but I think I will pass it along so that one of you can stitch it. If you're interested in this pattern, please use the word Atlantis, ATLANTIS, and I will get this shipped out to you. It's super cute. I think it's all DMC. Oh, there is a different floss in here as well. So mostly DMC. And then there's probably some Krynic or some metallics in there, but super cute pattern. The fourth pattern I've got to give away is called Avatar. This is by Black Swan. And the only reason I'm giving this away is because I loved it so much. Apparently I bought it twice. So I had an extra copy. But this is, it's called Avatar, but it's also called Wizard of Wind. Look at him riding on that dragon. Is that not so cool? I love this piece, and I really can't wait to stitch it someday, but I do have it in my stash, so I am happy to give this pattern away. If you are interested in this pattern, please use the word wind, W-I-N-D, wind, and you'll be entered to win this pattern. Okay, the final piece I've got to give away is actually a dimensions kit, and so that's why this will have to be US only. But this is called Scenic Farm, and this one is so cute. Somehow, so I had this in my stash, and then I bought on eBay kind of a package deal, and this also came with it, so now I have two. But I really love this one. I cannot wait to stitch it up myself because this scene reminds me so much of my grandparents' farm in Pennsylvania. They had a farmhouse that looks very similar to that, and the barn off to the side as well, and it just reminds me so much of their farm that I can't wait to stitch it up. But I think this is a really cool piece. So this is the full kit. It is not opened. It has all the floss, not sorted. It comes with this is an 18 count white Aida, so 18 count. All the instructions and everything in here. Yeah, and everything you need in this kit to stitch it. So if you're interested in this, please use the word farm in your comment, F-A-R-M, and you'll be entered to win this kit. Again, this is the only one that will be US only. The other four I will ship wherever. So standard rules apply. Please don't use any words like giveaway or free or anything like that in the comments, so we can keep it just to you guys for the winners. And please be 18 years of age or older, because I will need your mailing address to send these out if you're the winner. And yeah, use the code words in your comment below. And I will limit this to only one person. You can only win one item, is what I'm trying to say. So if you're called for multiple, I will redraw for a second one. But you can put as many code words down below as you would like. And I will give this a full week, and then I will pull the winners before my next video next week. So you will have until Monday, February, what is that, 10th, I think? Let's see. You will have until Monday, February 10th to put the comment in below. And yeah, it's a way for me to give back to you guys. You have been so generous to me and so kind to me, and I hope that this helps a little bit to, yeah, just give a little back to you and best of luck in trying to win one of these patterns. And thank you so much for getting this channel to 5,000 subscribers. Yeah, and I think that's all I've got for you today. So keep running if you're a runner, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.